All right, we're here. We're here. You know what time it is. You know it's time for me to talk about it. Your boy is out here. He is the king. Um I'm telling you, you're about to see me up in the tourneys. I'm I am Mortal Kombat. So my question to y'all is who y'all want to get defeated by when y'all
what?
in this tournament that I'm gonna be creating like the next few weeks.
What? I'm gonna get Dante to handle you. But you gotta get the Dacian.
Yeah, I don't even got the game.
Wow, so
And I'm still beat you.
wow, you really go. Whoa. Calm yourself, young Padawan. There ain't no way you touching a real one.
Wait, I thought the King in Black retired. Is he back for Mortal Kombat?
Oh no, I'm still Rogue Jedi. I'm just being rogue on Mortal Kombat,
Okay.
but I still am a king.
All right.
Or
So
maybe I've gone beyond being a king, and soon I'll become a god.
Fire God. Fire God, Liu Kang. All right. So with that, I'm Demetrius,
And I'm Demetrius,
and Meet Meets presents.
the Blurred City Podcast.
All right. So as promised, we have a special guest on today. Meech, if you want to introduce them or they introduce themselves.
All right, so we have ourselves the boy, the man, the myth, the legend himself. He decided to return back in with all the dreads. The dreaded Donovan himself. What's going on, man?
The dreads are longer now.
All right, that's how he wants to introduce himself. The dread, the longer. Let's get it.
Yes. So for those new listeners, we had Dreaded Double D on for our Wakanda Forever podcast. One of that review was so legendary, just like a very important cultural movie, great movie all around. So we wanted to have you back. We also just with this month kind of wanted to give to creators, have our own podcast and then sharing that platform with others. So we're going to get into a lot of just the comic that you're writing as we go deeper into the show. But before we get all of that, hit us with the legal spiegel.
The purpose of this podcast is to explore digital and print media. All sources we reference are owned by their respective companies, and our thoughts and opinions are strictly our own and reflect no biases or corporate agendas. Your discretion is advised.
All right, so as we always kick it off with the what's hot. So that's what's going on in pop culture, gaming, anime, TV, television, comics as we get to today. So what do you guys got?
What you got, Donnie?
Okay. I think it's weird, but I've realized that we are in like how the early 2000s was everything was about zombies. Now everything is about the multiverse.
Yeah.
True.
There's Spider-Man, Marvel's getting into it. There's the animated Spider-Man, and then Marvel's getting into it with the MCU. DC, Flash touched on it. We don't talk about that movie though. And this is kind of spoilers for Mortal Kombat 1 story mode, but that also gets into the multiverse.
I feel like if you played MK11,
Okay.
multiverse stuff.
Yeah. So it's because I was watching the gameplay of MK1. I'm like, it's another multiverse story. I'm not tired of it because I don't think it was done badly. I think there are some stories that's done badly. Flash. But there are stories that's done better, like Spider-Verse and I think Mortal Kombat wasn't and they use it terribly.
Right. All right, Meech. So after you've recovered from, the movie that has been banned on this podcast, what do you got that time?
All right. So now that I've recovered, we're gonna go through the list. Anime. You know what time it is. Firstly, Bleach, Goated, Still, Shibuya Arc, Pain and Misery. That's all
I heard there's been some leaks about Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen them, but I heard they're wild.
Yeah, if you've seen the leaks about the newest Jujutsu Kaisen manga chapter, then that's all I'm gonna say. I ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing for y'all's sanity's sake. I already read the manga as is because I ain't trying to get spoiled, so the leaks did nothing to me. Let's get it. And then from there, we also have, the return of Naruto, the return of that's coming out fairly soon. I'm here for it. Of course, One Piece stay goated. It's actually now officially the end of the Wano arc. We officially done. They're just doing all the aftermath. So I'm like, let's go. And then finally we have Zom 100. That stays legendary in my book. And then Attack on Titan, the final part to the final episode to the final season to the final episode to the final everything is dropping. I think November. So
I don't know about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
First week in November.
Yeah. So
I'm not prepared.
Get your souls ready, and also this is a good time to rewatch all of Attack on Titan and see all of where Eren is in the episodes. I'm talking about adult Eren, not young one. So, and then let's get on to comics real quick. Here's something that I have not talked about in a long time. Amazing Spider-Man. This man, they're actually in their bag with these past 2 issues. I'm not even gonna lie to you. He Peter Parker moving different now. He moving different. He moving menacing. He moving sinisterly. Let's just say that that things is popping off. I am pleasantly surprised. Still not buying it. I will use my sources to read it, but that's neither here nor there. KLC Press, stay KLC Pressing. The issue 2 of the Schlub is already released on KLC Press. If you're a GOAT subscriber like I am, and it's greatness. Kill Your Darlings, also a phenomenal book. If you haven't gotten it, just get in. And also the final order for Call will be by today, which is when this episode is released.
We got to get the Supple Boys on.
Yep, yes. Eventually, we'll get the Supple Boys on. We'll get the boys on, and then finally, Spawn been spawning. The Death of the Venomverse still going. It's about to be wraps very, very soon for the Venomverse. So that's one multiverse that's about to die soon. And then that's about it in terms of the comic sphere. Now let's move on to gaming. As we said, MK1. Moving on. That's all we need to see. Then we also have Spider-Man 2 next month. I'm not touching grass for about a few years. And seeing more releases about more news about the game is just getting me I'm just like, it makes no sense why this is game of the year. Makes no sense. The fact you're able to swing around, and when you're swinging, you see the other Spider-Man doing stuff, and then you can tag in and help out with the second Spider-Man too.
Jesus.
Oh, Lord have mercy. And then also, as you mentioned, Baldur's Gate 3. Still haven't played it yet because MK1, and there's other games out there that I'm sure people are excited about and really resonate with. And then finally, in terms of movies, TV, firstly, The Continental. It already dropped. Haven't seen it yet at this time of the recording because Love Is Blind also decided to drop the same day.
Priorities, priorities.
But to say that it's because of the fact that this Love Is Blind season is set in Houston. Okay, I needed to see if we were done correctly or we were done dirty.
Correctly, or which one is it?
Unfortunately, we've been done dirty.
No.
Unfortunately, this is shaping up to be the messiest season. I'm just like, why us?
Chat going crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I said The Continental dropping, and then also next month, Chucky season 3.
Oh, it got confirmed?
Not only confirmed, it's dropping next month.
I did not see anything about that, to be honest.
Oh yeah, a trailer already came out. So
going after.
Yeah, so let's just say that I will not be touching grass for the next few months. I'll be watching these shows on all the platforms that I'll be watching my shows on, and then I'll be doing all that at work. So, but yeah, that's all I had.
All right, so just a speed run. Gen V, I believe, drops this week of this recording. So that is the Boys College spinoff, something I will be tapping into. Expendables 4 drop. I saw it yesterday. it's what you expect it to be. So I'll keep going.
All right, cool.
Yes. So then Bungo Stray Dogs just ended its season 5 run. A lot of anime is kind of wrapping up. My Happy Marriage is another anime that also wrapped up. So that's on Netflix that you can check out. So transitioning forward, something that I want to talk about, bringing back one of my favorite segments, the Freak Out Geek Out segment. So this is a show that I've been watching like the past month or two that I have to give love to, and it's called Snowfall. Snowfall is one of the best TV shows I have ever watched, period. The acting is absolutely incredible. The storytelling, the writing, I mean, just the progression of Franklin Saint's character from season 1 through season 6 is just wow. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Snowfall, but if anyone has the opportunity to watch that, tap in.
Fun. Like, and that's interesting too, because I've been seeing your boy Roshi reacting to it. I was like, is this show really?
It is heat. Every season is heat. It's not even like The Wire where like season 2 of The Wire is like, yeah, and then it like picks back up. It's like every season is heat.
I may need to lock in.
All right. So with that, we are going to get into our sponsor for the day. And then after the break, we are going to start our interview with our homie. So let's get it.
All right. So for today's sponsor, we have ourselves the one and only legendary MK1 tournament sponsored and hosted by the Rogue Jedi. If you are willing to come throw hands with the legend himself and just throw hands with Mortal Kombat enthusiasts and fighting game enthusiasts in general, please come and support us today. Please send an email and then we will send out a link to the Mortal Kombat tournament bracket, and at which you will be fighting contestants to where at the end you will have to fight him. So please come join the tournament and steal all your souls. Your soul is mine.
All right, cool. So with that, Donovan, we're going to get into just kind of like your comment that you've been writing, something that we both kind of tapped into, and then discuss kind of your journey as a writer slash, I don't know what the proper term is. Is it like comic book writer or like?
Lord knows. I've just been saying creator because I do both the writing and drawing. But I don't know if there's an actual term for it.
That's fair, because I keep wanting to say mangaka, and I'm like, it's definitely not that.
Right. Yeah, I'm like,
No.
that's the name for it and for manga, but I'm making those.
Yeah. So with
Yeah.
that, do you kind of want to just like introduce your story and everything like that?
Yeah. First of all, let me say thank you for you both having me on, being able to talk about my things. And even though it's not done, I appreciate giving this platform as I continue to create it. But yeah, my first story, it's called Alien Stole My Heart. It's what is the word? It's not alien invasion movie, but it's an alien type story. It's sort of along the lines of the original Alien movie, where there's a spaceship that an alien sort of takes over and starts killing people. But it's also a romance story because the spaceship is a couples cruise, and the alien is killing these married people that's taking this cruise around the galaxy. I did prep something to read. So this is the basic story. In the year 2202, space travel is possible on a cruise ship. The Warhol Space Odyssey is one of the most popular couples cruises. Although it is expensive, it provides one of the best vacation experiences of the century. A 7-day trip around the solar system, starting on Mars and working its way back through each planet. After years of work, Ford and Econaut finally aligned their vacation days to spend time together. Is this the experience they need to save their marriage, or is this their final chance to say goodbye? So that's the comic.
Nice. So, like, after you read that, my question for Meech, would you go on a galactic couples cruise?
Well, first of all, I need to have a boo to go on the galactic cruise with. So take things one step at a time, my brother. But
In progress.
But in the event that it happens, yeah, let's go. Let's go up in space. Let's see if I can find my symbiote or tap into the force. Let's go.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions for Donna?
Oh man, like there's just so much going on with that story, and like from the chapters that we've read and the ones that were released, it was I like to say like it definitely is like a strong opener and it's a strong like beginning story. And yeah, like I really enjoyed it. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate it.
yeah, no problem, no problem. So like what got you into like wanting to write, wanting to draw it?
This is a it's not a long story, but I feel like it's a long story because I lived. Um, as a kid, I wanted to create video games. And it's funny I brought up the whole zombie zeitgeist because that's how it started. I was like, I can make because we grew up playing Call of Duty Zombies. And I was like, man, I can make a better zombie game than this. Um, and just thinking about it, I'll get there. I'll get there. Thinking about it, I was like, yeah, I'll have uh, if it's four people, I have four characters that each do their different things. And then in my head, I'm like, I could set it up as like a family dynamic where there's like a dad character, which is like the tank. Mom character is like a healer. A son is like the DPS, and a daughter is, I think, another DPS, but like in a different way, like an AOE type thing, and or the other way around. Um, but as I grew up, I took one programming class, and I was like, okay, video game creation is not for me. um, and so I was always drawing since a young age. So I was like, I wonder if I could uh, just write the story out, um, which I did, or I did start writing some um, fiction stories. I had one, I did write that original story, the zombie story. It was not good, so I did not finish it. But another one I wrote was like a home invasion, being in the century that we're in, with like smart houses and things like that. So it's like a home invasion, but the home invaders are these technical geniuses, and like they trying to call the police, but they're actually calling the home invaders. And another horror story. But it's from the perspective of the home invaders, and they're like trying to get notoriety and news coverage. I have no idea where that story was going, but I might revisit it someday. And then to this day, I realized that I like drawing the most. Well, now that I am drawing, I've realized I like writing more, but I feel like part of my brain is needs to allow people to see what I'm thinking, and I can only really do that through comics. So that's why I switched from just creative writing to comics.
Dope, dope. And what were kind of like some of inspirations in terms of just like comics growing up, or maybe not comics, but TV shows, and like you mentioned, zombies, wanting to maybe translate that to the comic book style. What were like inspirations for that?
Uh, Everything. I mean, I guess we'll get into it later, but I don't want to and am not drawing or writing for one specific genre. Like for this, the main inspiration was the original Alien movie. Because I got to watch that recently, and it was October, and I was like, I wonder if I can force myself to write a horror story, and that's the first thing I thought, or that I thought of, was an alien story. Other uh see, I don't wanna, I'll say it. My other One of my other stories is a superhero world type story, and that most of those inspirations come from things like Spider-Man, Static Shock, the whole idea of like everybody or a bunch of people getting powers, the whole Boom Baby thing from Static Shock. I grew up watching that, or Bang Baby, yeah, that's what it's called. I remember those the cartoon growing up. Um, and so I have that story that I'm writing, and it's also inspired a little bit by Invincible. But I can't say too much on that because it's not ready to come out the oven yet. I can't.
That's fair. That's fair. Mage.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And you mentioned like, hey, Spider-Man. You mentioned Invincible. You mentioned Static. What were like some of your other like favorite? Are those like your only favorite comic books, manga,
Well,
book?
my favorite superhero of all time is Static Shock. I actually have or I have one of the new run, Static Shadows of Dakota.
Mm.
Um, the, both the variant cover and the regular here. I'm currently reading that. I gotta find the next issues to it. I'm currently reading Vinland Saga, even though I've already watched it. I'll see it
Mm.
too. Um, I was collecting Dragon Ball Z manga. Um, that was more to study action scenes and
Mm.
how to draw 'em. It's uh, as a kid, I was collecting. I didn't know it at the time, but I was getting the Archie Sonic comics. Um, as a kid, I just saw Sonic in the comic store, and I was like, "Yeah, that one." And what else did we get? We had some Ghost Rider comics. Um, a lot of Marvel stuff growing up. But yeah,
Would you say it's Marvel Snap, if you will?
man, don't get me started. I would take us into a whole nother conversation.
Ooh.
That's fair. You gotta cosplay as Static. You gotta come with us to one of the cons and cosplay as
Man,
Static.
I want to so bad. It's that's I'm such a perfectionist. Like I want to get like the LED lights and stuff, and rim it around like my hands or something.
You gotta bring
Um,
a trash can cover as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dog, if I do that, I'm probably will never take that costume off. I actually think I'm static.
All right. So it sounds like he's coming with us to DreamCon next year.
Yes, Static Comic Palooza. All right. Just with Alien Stole My Heart, I know that you were telling me like weeks ago, that this isn't like complete. You were working on multiple parts. I know if people go to Webtoons right now, and then check out Alien Stole My Heart, there's 6 parts. Can you kind of explain like your release plan for that?
So the first 6 parts or the first 6 chapters was the first part, and I've split the entire story into 3. The original plan was to either release the comic as 3 separate issues, or one full graphic novel. Um, but uh, it didn't work out like that. I sort of overestimated how much it would cost to live off this, and I was doing Grubhub, and money got tight, so I had to start looking for a job. Um, and I was trying to figure out ways that I can still release the book because I didn't want to give up. Uh, and I found Webtoon, which made it easier for me to work on things chapter by chapter instead of whole part by part. Um, and so this first part, where it stops now, I don't want to say it because it is kind of spoiler. I guess we can probably get into a spoiler talk later. But this first part was supposed to be out February, and then March was the second, and then April was the third. But it didn't work out like that because time didn't permit for it. Um, so now my plan is, since the first part is done, I'm already working on the second part. I have sketches done for most of the chapters, so I have to go through and ink them, and bubble them. So that should be done before the end of the year. And the third part should be done by February at the latest. It's very far apart because I know that things come up now, but it may be done sooner. Hopefully, it's done sooner, because I do want to move. This was one of my shorter stories, and I do want to start one of my my long form.
Nice, nice. And yeah, you really talked about like how you really starting like like the writing side a lot more. And let's get like a little bit into kind of just the characters and kind of the inspirations you had like behind the characters in the story. Or were like there any characters that you'd seen or like that you wrote that were kind of like based on people in your real life?
Uh, Yeah, so I feel like the main overarching thing is how do you balance work and life? That is what I was struggling with the most. And so that's the main theme that all characters are surrounded by. The whole idea of like you have to work to take care of your loved ones, but if you work, you don't have time with your loved ones. Um, and that's the idea I was struggling with, and what I wanted to write through my characters here. But to get further like into it, it was mostly my family, uh, and my mom. My mom thinks she's based off one character, but it's not the, it's the character she's thinking of. Um, uh, but my mom, my uh, brother and sister and their spouses and my dad are all sort of sprinkled in with little character traits just to liven up the cast a little bit and make it more fun in the beginning at least.
Interesting. So I originally didn't think that any of the characters were based on real life, but that being the case, in the final chapter, are any of those real life people the ones that got devoured?
Yeah, that was no, actually, that one was completely based off of off of me and my antisocial side. The whole point of that character is that he's angry for no reason, and because of that, like mad focus on work, he gets killed first. Um, so yeah, that was completely based off me. Or mostly based off me. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And when am I gonna pop up?
Oh, you'll get your time. That's not this story.
All right, cool, cool, cool. As long as I get to live throughout the entire
Right.
let's go.
We'll see.
Also, just with the title, I kind of wanted to ask how you came up with the title "Alien Stole My Heart." Now, if like people read the chapters and they get to the last one, I actually really liked how it tied into the title of it. Not to spoil, but how did you kind of come up with it?
Um, so I had, or like I was saying before, I was looking for ways to fund my comics. And so I made this, or I started sketching different shirt designs, and one of them was the hoodie that you got. I am selling merch to still fund this comic. And it was Alien Stole My Heart. I just like how it sounded when I was designing the merch. And as I was writing, because I said it was October and I just wanted to challenge myself. So as I was writing, I was like, why am I writing an alien story? And I was just making an alien design the other day. And so I went back and looked at it and saw it was called Alien Stole My Heart. And I was like, I wonder what I can do with it. And so that's when I uh, found or came up with the idea to mix it with the romance, to sort of align like a heart as in being like, heart of my soul, like the person I love, but also your physical heart, and the aliens actually stealing that physical heart by, eating you up.
Mhm. Yeah, Mitch.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Awesome. Thanks for that. And then like and in terms of your art style, like what like how, like what's like kind of your like you mentioned looking at Dragon Ball Z for action scenes and things like that. So like how'd you decide on the art style of your book?
Um, so growing up, I grew up drawing a lot of Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. Um, and those uh techniques and or style didn't really leave me. I tried to learn, or I guess I was studying, like trying to do things like Jim Lee. I was watching his because he does live streams, which are pretty good, and I was watching his stuff to see how he inks. Um, and I have this one just superhero comic book that I was studying, and it just sort of started to mold the two together of the anime style Naruto and Dragon Ball Z and American comic style. It's just sort of started molding together. But for this book in particular, uh, it was purposely done that the earlier chapters before you see the alien is more cartoonish, less detailed, um, and fun. And I don't know if you noticed or are reading it, but when the alien appears, and everyone reacts to it, all the detail comes in, and there's a lot more. Well, there's blood, obviously, but you see like the scratches on people's faces. You start seeing the imperfections on things. It's like the real world is setting in. It's not just this romantic vacation anymore. It's life or death. And I sort of was forced to have it be black and white, to just so I can get it out at decent times. And I use some color. I think me being forced to use black and white made me think of color differently. I'm now using color to really emphasize points that I want to be emphasized, which is good. And I like. So I don't know if I'm going to continue having things in black and white for later stories, but for this story in particular, we'll stay in black and white.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because I literally wrote down in part 5 because I noticed like it was all in black and white, and then in part 5 there's like part where someone revealed their eyes and it was blue eyes, and it was like the first time that I recognized color like in the story. So that was like something I wanted to ask, but like you mentioning that makes sense now.
Yeah, it's very specific. I can't. That's spoiler talk. So I haven't even released yet, so I can't speak on it. But I do use color, or I am using color for points like that, so you remember.
Yeah, it's like using colors to accentuate and colors like as part of the story. Think like Across the Spider-Verse, and how that movie just used colors magnificently.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you have any other question?
Yeah, so just kind of, well, one thing, since we were talking about art style, in chapter 4 where you wrote the stars, I thought that was actually one of the most beautiful scenes within the story. Like when it showed the stars and everything that everyone was looking at before it showed it's not a meteor, the asteroid. So do you like plan on like adopting like different styles, or do you think like once you like grow as a creator that you're gonna have like your own signature art style?
I think as I grow, my art style will become more and more of my own. As I'm creating right now, I can see, or I'm very critical of my art so that I can grow. I think before I was very critical, and it made me not want to publish. But I broke that. I was like, if I keep trying to perfect one art style, I'm never going to be able to release anything. So it's funny. I was talking to my mom, and she was like, "Aren't the hands supposed to be that small on each character?" I was like, "No, I just haven't been used to drawing hands lately." And I noticed it as well. I'm like, as I looked back on things, and so things like small things like that are continuously. I'm growing in to be better and make my own without trying to copy.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for talking about like all that. So like, what are your like future plans with this project?
With this project, so I have a problem that I cannot stop thinking about. Like, I cannot conclude a universe. So I wanted to, like, this was completely written just to be a one-off. But then I started thinking of another sci-fi story, and I was like, this can tie very well into this story if I really wanted it to. So I am split between the idea of having a horror anthology series, and this being the start of it, or just having a shared universe in general.
That's crazy that you mentioned that because it literally ties to the start of the show where you're talking about everything is a multiverse.
Yeah, I can say I can't escape it.
I was about to say, the alien stole your heart, multiverse. Let's go.
Yes. So with that, you mentioned different things in terms of just like cost, time wise, but can you like discuss any like the setbacks of creating? Because I'm definitely aware of just like timeline in my own writing, but setbacks that you had to come across and just like different ways that you overcome them or had to like do like a hard left right pivot to like
Yeah.
get around them.
Um, there's been a lot. So my original plan, was starting in January. I had this story finished writing in December. And so my plan was starting in January was to start drawing and, and publish by February, the whole thing. And I started drawing one page and that took like a day. And then I started coloring a page and that took another day. And then I started shading that page and it took another day. And then I started bubbling the page and it took another day. I was like, there's no way it takes me a whole week to do one page. It's not going to get done. So I did a little bit more research and, now I recognize that, there's different people that do each of those different things. And so that's why I was like, okay, I am not a full team of 5 people. I can't do all these things, but what I can at least do is ink everything. So that's why I decided to make everything in black and white. And so then I started doing that page by page, and it was still taking too long for how I liked it. So I was researching different ways of publishing, and that's when I found Webtoon and the scroll mechanic of how Webtoon works, because it's a straight vertical comic, made it a lot easier for me not only to break down what I want in story beats, but it makes it easier for me to feel like I am using up as much of, I guess, the chapter as I can. Maybe I just need a bit more training in drawing for pages, and how to extend all the words and speech that I want. But that was a setback. I'm thinking there's 2 other main setbacks. One actually isn't really main. I know I've been cutting a lot from what I've written in the script. Not things that are important, just like jokes that I've written in here or there. You could actually probably see like when I drew Ekana for the first time in a close-up, her hair is a little bit messed up. And that was on purpose because Addie, which is one of the characters, is a hairstylist. And in the balcony conversation, there was supposed to be a joke about how Ekana was working so hard. And Addie like chimes in and she's like, "Oh, that's why your edges aren't done." And like that goes on to the next chapter where they go back to the room. And Ekana was like, "Do you really think my edges are bad?" And things like that had to be cut, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And so isn't too important, but I just realized like, oh, I don't have time and space for this in the story right now. Maybe if I adapted it again, I'll be able to throw things back in. And then lastly is literally my own mental about things. Like I said, like being comfortable with my art to a point where I feel like I can publish it. I'm still not at that point. I be drawing stuff all the time. I'm like, this looks bad, but I want to get better, and I'm not going to get better if I just keep retrying this one thing over and over again. So I have to get over that mental hurdle with like, this is ready to ship. Whether I think it's good or not, doesn't matter. Like it's art and it's subjective. So no matter how I want it to look, it's not like people are going to see it the same way I do anyways. But getting over that mental hurdle was one of the big setbacks. That's why I wasn't releasing in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, thanks for sharing all that. Thanks for just like being open about like, hey, these are some of the hurdles, and these are real hurdles that as inspiring creators that you may have. So like and when you're like mentioning all of the like, hey, these are things like I'm doing to try to overcome it, like that's like really invaluable to creators and invaluable to all of us here, because we're all creators in different reigns and respects. But Yeah, it's like what are kind of like your future goals, like your future plans for well not just for you, but just like your projects and things of that nature.
So outside of this project, I want to grow my brand to be an entire um entertainment company. Like I said, I have the superhero story that is being is close to being done, written or finished written, but that I also have that same problem where I wrote it to be a short story and now I've expanded on it twice and there's yeah that should last me about 2 summers or 3 summers. And there is a separate story that should last me about 6 summers. That that story. The third one is that's my One Piece, my super world building, everything. I've been writing that since college. Um, and I just keep expanding on it and keep thinking about things. And I don't want to limit that story. So I've been making these smaller stories in the meantime. Um, but yeah, uh, that will, I want to start that one next year. Um, but we'll see. The other plans, because it's not just comics. Um, from that, my mega story, I want that to spin off into video games. And I want to start an animation or start some sort of animation or work with an animation team. I have a lot of plans for my brand in general. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I know it's going to be done some way or another.
Love it. Love it. So can you tell people where to like find your comic? Again, Alien Stole My Heart, and then also just like the merchandise and where they can get that at.
Right. You can go to Webtoon, either through the app or the website. And you should be able to search up Alien Stole My Heart. If it does not work, please go to my Instagram. That is Smith Arts Official, and it is linked in my Instagram bio. For some reason, the search sometimes it gives people trouble on Webtoon. So if the search doesn't work, go to my Instagram. And if you want to buy some merchandise to support, that is shopsmitharts.com. Let me make sure that is the actual title. Uh, yeah, shopsmitharts.com is where you can buy the merchandise at.
Yeah. And we'll be sure to put it in the description, the links in the description to this episode. So with that, it was definitely just kind of great having it on. So this, for listeners, this is wrapping up the interview portion of this episode. And now we get into a fun portion of the episode, one that Meech and I might just have to cut because we keep going out of pocket, but it's the random fan theory of the week. So with this, we like to bring on a either us or a visitor guest to the podcast, and they just kind of give us a random fan theory and, fandom. So what do you got for us?
I don't know if you guys have talked about this already, but have you guys seen the crocodile is a woman One Piece theory?
Yes. Yeah.
Or was a woman? Um, so I didn't know because I wasn't reading the manga, but and I don't remember it from the anime, but apparently they show crocodile, but only facing from behind, and you see their hair, and that's all you see in the manga, and I'm pretty sure that's all you see in the anime as well. But in the live action, there's a woman that they focus on for a long time, and she has like gold, she's a little dark skinned, and everybody thinks that that's crocodile, because it also lines up to the Impel Down art where they take crocodile out the cage he's in, and what is his name? Eva is like teasing him. He's like, crocodile, you can't act out because I know your secret. And if you know Eva's whole power is that he can change somebody's gender from male to female or female to male. And so it's funny because I'm in or I was watching that arc when I started seeing all the theories pop up on TikTok and things like that. So that's my random fan theory.
Ooh, we should have had the Afro Puff Samurai on for that theory. Meech, what do you got?
I was also gonna mention just you mentioned that theory, but did you happen to see the expansion on that theory?
Not besides what I just said.
In the sense that people are speculating that Crocodile is actually Luffy's mother.
Oh, yeah, I did see that, but I thought that was a joke.
I I don't believe it. But that's just something out there. Just the fact that yeah, essentially his entire theory, but it's also adding on the fact like, oh yeah, like Crocodile gave birth to Luffy and then got turned into a man like sometime after, which is why Crocodile was never around. And also the fact that Crocodile was kind of really hitting this man extra hard.
Dang.
But yeah,
All right, so with that, we can start wrapping up, get into any recommendations we may have. I know we mentioned a lot of stuff in the What's Hot. My only recommendation, Alien Stole My Heart. Like we mentioned, you can catch that on Webtoons. Meech, Donovan, you got any recommendations?
I think for me, my recommendation is Aliens Stole My Heart, found on Webtoons. Let's get it.
And I think for myself, I'm gonna go a little bit different. I think I'm gonna go with Alien Stole My Heart, and where you can find that on the Webtoons and read it for free. Read it for free.
That's perfect. So once again, this is the plug segment of the show. Just so we mentioned Alien Stole My Heart on Webtoons. So can you just one more time go through your other plugs?
My other plug is my Instagram. That is where I usually do my updates. When I have updates, I haven't uploaded in a while, but my updates will be up there soon for part 2. And my store is shopsmitharts.com, where you can get selling t-shirts, hoodies. The Alien Stole My Heart merch will go down when the story is done. I should say that. That is limited time. So after a week after part 3 is out, those pieces of merch will not be able to buy ever again. But there are what I call Smith Arts Classics, which is just the logo name that you can buy at any time. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
Yeah, and people, if you can get the white hoodie, try to. I tried to, but it's not in my size. So, with just with housekeeping for the podcast, well, obviously this week, this drops on Wednesday. So our Monday episodes of Ahsoka drop, weekly recaps. Episode 6 drop this week. We should have 2 more. And then for the season finale, we're hoping to have a mailbag. And then in addition, bring back on Sword of the Jedi. We're also hopping on another podcast, Fusion Ha. So you can kind of just like check out their feeds. It may or may not be in our feeds. So just with that again, Fusion Ha, that should be, I don't know. I don't know when it's dropping. You'll know before we know as of this. So with that, next week, we're probably going to take a break, or we're going to just release that episode in a joint collab as well. But you can still catch our Ahsoka episode 7 review on that Monday. And then the week after, well, within 2 weeks, we're going to have on ideally Midnight Comics and then interview as well. So, Meech, what you got?
Oh yeah. So you know what time it is, y'all. We have our plugs, our Instagram, and then our X, formerly known as Twitter. And then also Threads, which is Blurred City 22. Like, follow, subscribe, notifications. Stay up to date on all of our announcements and our release schedule and everything we got going on. We have our Discord page linked in said pages because who doesn't want to join a fine community of degenerates and also be able to see a certain Meech that completely goes insane on that MK1 team, you know what I'm saying? But then we also have ourselves our YouTube and our Patreon, Blurred City Pod. With the YouTube page, same deal, but if you want to donate a little extra cheddar, you get access to exclusive Patreon released episodes like our character analysis of the best Naruto villain, Don't At Me, Nagato Uzumaki, aka Pain, aka him. Then after that, we have ourselves our email, blurredcity22@gmail.com. That's where he mentioned the aforementioned mailbag, and that's where you submit questions, your random fan theories that we get to read out, and just your thoughts, your questions, episode suggestions, and all of that good jazz. Finally, I'm the Rogue Jai 21 on TikTok, however long I got TikTok, because yeah, that site is probably going down within the next year or so. And then also I will be having a special account opening up soon, but details about that are pending. What you got?
For my individual author pages, we have my Instagram, metri_dash. That is METRI_DASH. For my ex, formerly known as Twitter, that is at the mad-16. And then if you're interested in my book, Phantom Pains, A Most Irregular Tale, you can find that on Amazon Kindle, ideally dropping the sequel in early 2024. So with that, Donovan, once again, thanks so much for being able to come on. And as usual, we like to have our guests leave with words of encouragement for the people.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Word of encouragement, I think in the idea of what we were talking about, if you are a creator or have something that you want to create, and you feel like it's not ready, put it on pause, take your same idea, start with something small and just do it. You learn a lot more from making mistakes than over planning.
Dope. So with that, as we like to say, it's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now. And that's the Blurred City Podcast.
See ya later.